Hi guys, how's it going? It is me, Megan, and I am back with another video. If you guys are new to my channel, I am a full-time reseller on Poshmark and a few other platforms, but mostly Poshmark. And here on YouTube, I like to make reseller content. I'll do what sold videos, I'll do unboxings, I'll do all that good stuff. So if that's something you guys are interested in, please make sure to like and subscribe, and that way you'll never miss one of my videos. I just wanted to reintroduce Wednesday. It was sad because her dad just left. For you guys who haven't met her or haven't seen her in a really long time, Sunday was in my thumbnail, and I'm hoping will come and join me eventually. As you can tell, I'm not in my office, or I normally film. I'm actually in my living room because it's the only room that has AC. It was 100 degrees yesterday. It's going to be close to 100 degrees today. I do apologize if you can hear it in the background, but it's been a while since I've gotten one of these What Sold Sunday videos out for you guys, and I wanted to try and film one today. So hopefully some cats will visit, but if not, it's just going to be you and me. Hopefully I have this set up good enough. I'm not sure. It was kind of like a last second thing. But yeah, I'm actually just going to be going over everything I've sold in July thus far because I haven't sold any of that. Now my cat's crying again. Hopefully they'll stay relatively quiet. Wednesday's not happy. But yeah, I haven't shared any of my sales from July. I want to do a couple of like my best sale videos from May, which has been a little while now, and June, which is closer. So keep an eye out if you're interested in those, but otherwise, yeah, I'm just gonna get into it. Also, if you watched my unboxing videos, I will have like a recap video. I'm thinking like a 90-day recap video, so probably sometime next month I'll have that out. But yeah, so starting with July 1st, which was a Saturday, I had 4 sales. I will say summer slowdown has definitely affected my sales. Some days are really bad and other days are actually really good. So luckily it's kind of been balancing itself out, but it has definitely slowed down a bit. But on July 1st, I did have 4 sales. I sold this J. Crew Silk Blend button up. This actually sold really quickly from when I listed it. If you remember, or if you were watching my bulk boxes, you might remember this shirt. It was older. It was from like 2009, I want to say, but it was a silk blend. It was in really good condition. I did some research, and I don't think it was like a sought after piece or anything. It was called like the perfect button down shirt or something like that. But it did sell relatively quickly. I didn't price it too high because it was older, but it sold for $17, and after fees I made $11.58. Then I sold these Theory wool pants. These actually took a little while to sell. I want to say I got these maybe last winter, fall or winter, so it's almost been a year. These were in a great size and they were like new. I actually found these I got at a thrift store, but I found like several like nicer designer-ish or just like premium brands pants next to each other. I found a couple of Theory pants. I found a pair of LaFleur pants, and I've just been sitting on most of them, but I am glad these sold. I probably just have them listed a bit too high, but they were a great size, really cute style. Sold for $55, and after fees I made $44, and I probably spent about $10 on those. Then I sold this vintage Lily Pulitzer tie, and one of the reasons I haven't been posting a lot of What Sold Sunday videos recently is I've been traveling a ton, it feels like. I think last month I was at a friend's wedding, so I wasn't in it, but I was at it. I flew to Connecticut for it, and then luckily that same weekend was actually my cousin's bridal shower, so I got to go to that as well. And I did have like a little bit of extra time, so I did go shopping at thrift stores with my mom. And then we tried to go home and our flight got canceled. It was like when all those flights were getting canceled in and around New England. So we actually rented a car and drove overnight, like 14 straight hours to Chicago to fly out the next morning at 5 a.m. But it ended up working. But yeah, that was crazy. And then we've gone to Disneyland since then, so weekends have been super busy. Summers are always crazy. But anyway, all that to be said, I got this tie when I was in Connecticut, when I went very briefly to like one store thrift shopping with my mother. I just kind of walked by the tie section and I saw this print and I'm like, that looks like a Lily Pulitzer, and it was. I don't know if she makes men's ties anymore, but a lot of the ones that had the same label as mine were vintage or listed as vintage, so I figured mine was vintage as well. I'm looking at my cat right now. She's laying in front of the AC. But yeah, I liked my print. I didn't see anything quite like it. I did list high and it sold pretty quickly. It sold for $46 and after fees I made $34.78. And I want to say I spent like $3.99 on that tie, so not too bad. And then the last thing I sold on Saturday was on eBay. It was this soft surroundings blouse. It was in a 3X. I want to say I got this at the bins. Usually soft surroundings does the best for me in their like embroidered pieces, but I really haven't found them recently that much. But this was a bigger size and it was at the bins, and I do like selling soft surroundings. Made sure to cross-list it to eBay now that I am selling on there again a little bit. Ended up selling for $24.99 and after fees I made $21.74. Then on Sunday, July 2nd, I had 3 sales. I sold this Onzi, I believe is how you pronounce the brand, open back long sleeve. I got this at Savers a long time ago. Less than a year probably, but still it's been sitting for a while. Onzi, I've had some hits, I had some misses. It is an athletic wear brand. I probably wouldn't pick it up again unless I really liked the piece and it was probably at the bins. I remember this not being too expensive and that's why I got it. I want to say maybe it was like $5 or $6 at Savers. And I really like the style. It ended up selling for $25 and after fees I made $20. Then I sold these American Eagle men's dad jeans. I got these at the bins. Feels like a long time ago. I'm not even sure if I got these in Sacramento or if I got these back in Portland. I think when I picked them up and they said dad jean, I was like, oh, maybe they're a women's jean, or maybe I knew by their sizing that they were men's. But I thought that would be a popular style, but they have sat for a bit. They ended up selling for $17 and after fees I made $11.58. And then the last thing I sold on Poshmark were these Abercrombie and Fitch bootcut jeans. I've been selling a lot of no, I don't even know. Crombie and Fitch pieces recently. It's a pretty popular brand right now. These were definitely a little bit of an older style, but they were that bootcut style. They were in a too short, and the person left me a very nice comment saying that she's been hunting for these jeans, so I'm very glad that I was able to sell them to her. But yeah, it sold for $16 and after fees I made $10.78, and I got those at the bins. Usually if I see that brand at the bins, unless it's a very simple piece or it's like not in good condition, I will usually pick it up, and I'm okay with a lower flip if I think it'll sell pretty quickly. But their newer stuff can go for quite a bit and still sell pretty quickly. So then on the 3rd, which was a Monday, I had 4 sales again. I sold this Anthropologie Meadow Rue floral mini dress. I think I got this in Sacramento. I'm not quite sure. Meadow Rue, I feel like I've found it a few times, but I wouldn't say it's like a super popular Anthropologie brand. But I thought it was a cute dress. It ended up selling for $28 and after fees I made $20.38. Then I sold this Chelsea 28 pink jumpsuit. Chelsea 28, I want to say is like sold at Nordstrom. I actually got that at a thrift store thinking I would wear it myself, but it was just far too small on me. And then I went to sell it, but it was missing a belt, and I didn't know that when I bought it. Probably got it for like $10. It still ended up selling on Poshmark. It did take a while, but you know, with Barbie and everything coming out, I've been selling a lot of pink things. This ended up selling for $36, and after fees I made $26.78, so I'm glad I made my money back and some profit. And then I sold these No Boundaries short overalls. My sister-in-law gave me donations last winter. These were part of that. I don't say no to overalls, especially if they're free. They might be No Boundaries, which is Walmart, but people are still like looking for cheap overalls or cheap clothing that they can, you know, wear that they're looking for that they don't want to spend a lot of money on. These ended up selling for $10, and after fees I made $7.05. And then the last thing I sold on Monday was a Banana Republic button-up denim skirt. I got this in my bulk boxes. This also sold on eBay. I really loved this skirt. It was kind of like Y2K, but it was actually a newer style. And denim skirts are still pretty popular. Ended up selling for $25 on eBay, and after fees I made $23.77. I am pleasantly surprised that, at least out of the mall brands I got in my bulk boxes that I showed you guys, Banana Republic has been doing pretty well, and I did get like a ton of it, so that's good. Then on Tuesday the 4th, I had 6 sales, which is a little bit surprising. I want to say I probably sent out a pretty big discount this day to try and get sales because it was a holiday. So the first thing I sold was this Disneyland V-neck hoodie. Got it at the bins. Sold for $15, and after fees I made $12. I love picking up resort-specific Disneyland, Disney World pieces because you can only get them at the parks, and they'll be worth a little bit more than, say, like, you know, a Target t-shirt. That one didn't end up selling for that much, but it did sell, which was good. Then I sold these Madewell slides, and these came from a mystery box, you guys might remember. I want to say I got it earlier this year, but I'm not 100% sure. I want to say it was from the New Without Tag outlet or somewhere else. I don't even remember. I don't get that many mystery boxes, and now they all kind of blend together the names of the companies in my mind. But it was like a 10-piece Madewell / J. Crew shoebox that took forever to get for me. They actually forgot about me. But I was pleasantly surprised with the shoes I did receive, and this was the last pair of shoes to sell from that box, so I actually sold all the pairs of shoes within a year, which is fantastic. These ended up selling for $31, and after fees I made $22.78. I spent about $130, I want to say, on that mystery box, and I profited, after making my money back, I profited $245 on that box. So not too bad. Glad they all sold, and they sold pretty quickly. Then the next thing I sold were these Anthropologie Sam Edelman espadrilles. I love these shoes. I got them at a thrift store. I have no idea how much I spent. Honestly, I probably paid up a little bit for them, probably like $12, I want to say. I thought they were really cute. Sam Edelman has just gone way downhill. I have such a hard time selling it, even though these were sold at Anthropologie and in great condition. Just a hard sell. I've had them definitely for over a year. They sold for $33, and after fees I made $24.38. Then I sold this Jessica Howard floral dress. I got this at the bins. It was in a bigger size, so I didn't really think too much about it because it was like, oh, Jessica Howard, that sounds familiar, and it's in a good size, and it was a pretty pattern. Turns out Jessica Howard might be like a Kohl's or Macy's brand, but not one that does particularly well. So I didn't list it for too high, and then I think it sold on a offer. Sold for $15, and after fees I made $9.98, but that was a decently quick flip. Then I sold this pair of Zara men's distressed jeans, which I think once I relisted these, they sold pretty quickly, which is good. My denim's starting to move again, which is fantastic because I love selling denim and I have so much of it. I really, really need to reorganize my office because I pretty much, when I moved here, had probably like less than 500 pieces, and now I'm like right over 800 pieces, and everything is just like overflowing and full, so I need just a different way to organize my closet. But yeah, hopefully the dreams start moving soon, since, you know, it will be fall before we know it. But these end up selling for $18, and after fees I made $12.38. Those I picked up at the bins, and I thought they were women's. Turns out they were men's. No big deal, but I think if they were women's jeans, they would have done better. And then the last thing I sold on Tuesday was a Torrid floral short sleeve top. I want to say this is the one I got in my bulk box. If not, I probably got it at the bins. I don't pay up for Torrid, but I will pick it up when I see it, especially at the bins. And I did get a few pieces in my bulk box. So that ended up selling for $15, and after fees I made $9.98. Then Wednesday the 5th I actually had no sales, which was sad, but it happens, especially in the summer. And then Thursday the 6th, I only had one sale. I think this was the weekend I was actually at Disneyland, so I really wasn't home posting any new things. But I sold these Madewell Heart Confetti pajama shorts. I got these at the bins. It was technically part of a set, but I only found the shorts. And I really loved the pattern. And I think they were in a size large, and really Madewell only does well for me in bigger sizes. That doesn't necessarily stop me from picking it up, especially at the bins, but I definitely wouldn't pay up for a smaller size nowadays. They sold for $16, and then after fees I made $12.80. And then Friday the 7th, I had two sales. I sold this Show Me Your Moo Moo jumpsuit, which I've had since like 2020. I got a mystery box of Show Me Your Moo Moo stuff. I think I finally have just one piece left, but that brand, I would not pick up that brand. Even at the bins, I probably wouldn't pick up that brand unless I was gonna like send it into like Plato's Closet or something, or unless it was like a very specific, like, pretty trendy piece. But anyway, it only sold for $18, but I was happy to see it go. And then after fees, I made $14.40. And then the last thing I sold on Friday was actually on Etsy. I reopened, well, I guess I never closed my Etsy closet. I just didn't have any listings on there. Very early on in my reselling, I was selling my vintage stuff on Etsy. I don't know why I can't talk. I was selling my vintage stuff on Etsy because clothing-wise, you could only really sell, you know, vintage or handmade stuff on there. And I recently was like, why not just like list a few things on there, see if anything sells. I've only ever sold like one thing on there before, but I do have quite a bit of nice vintage pieces currently. So I tried it out and I actually made a sale. I think it cost 20 cents to list things on Etsy, and then obviously like the fees and everything afterwards. But I sold this vintage Jessica McClintock Goonie Sacks 2000 or Millennial 2000, I can't remember what it said on the tag, maxi dress, and it sold for $120, and after fees and everything I made $100.48 on Etsy, and I was really excited to have that sale. I don't think they've rated me yet, but Etsy makes you have a return policy, so I was just a little worried that they were going to return it. But I had like the measurements and everything, so the sizing is a little weird because it is vintage, and that's what I was worried about, but it was gorgeous. All the other dresses from that collection, like the 2000 collection, none of them looked like this dress, and it was so perfect. And I found out the bin, similarly laid it on top of a bin, and I couldn't believe it. And yeah, that was exciting. Very, very exciting. I was so happy about that after especially having like a super slow couple of days. And then Saturday I actually had 7 sales, which again was fantastic. Even if they weren't super big, I'm just glad to see things move. I sold this Wild Fable orange floral mini dress. Got this at the bins. It was in a 1X, which was a great size. I do like to sell Wild Fable, and I'll pick it up at the bins if I think it's cute enough and, you know, substantial enough. Sold for $15, and after fees I made $12. Then I sold this Billabong blue floral mini dress. This I also picked up at the bins. I've mentioned it a lot, but Billabong actually does pretty well for me. It's a really great bread and butter brand. Usually I get it in like donations from my sister-in-law, and that's how I knew it sold well. But out of all like the beachy brands that are kind of like sold at boutiques, that one seems to do the best. I really love this dress. Saw it at the bins, sold it. I actually sold for full price, which was great. Sold for $30, and after fees I made $24. Then I sold these Paige men's Federal jean. Federal was the name of the jean style. And I like picking up Paige men's jeans. They do much better for me than any of the women's jeans I've ever sold. I don't find them often, and again, I wouldn't pay up for them, but I found these at the bins, and I thought that was great. I think I've done well with Paige's men's jeans, and then once with their maternity jeans. So those I would definitely check comps on if you don't pick up Paige pieces usually. They sold for $40, and after fees I made $32. Then I sold this Sublime 2X graphic short sleeve shirt. Got this at the bins. I am like always picking up band tees at the bins now. They're just easy bread and butter, and if I make $10 on them, great. It's at the bins, they don't weigh much, and they usually sell pretty quickly. This was in a great size. This one sold for 10, and after fees I made 503. Then I sold these Zara boho patterned pants. These I think were in an extra large, so a great size, especially for Zara pieces. I usually only find the smaller sizes. I got these at the bins. I didn't know if they were going to be, like, if people wanted this style of pants still, but I think someone offered me 10 and I accepted. I was totally fine with that. They didn't weigh anything. And after fees I made 705. The last thing I sold on Saturday was actually on Depop. I sold this vintage Talbot's linen skirt. If you remember, this was actually in my bulk boxes and I got a ton of attention on Depop. People love their midi / maxi length skirts, especially vintage. This was definitely from the 90s. Fully linen, which was awesome. Ended up selling for $28, and after fees I made $25.20. And then Sunday the 9th, I had 2 sales. I sold this new Attack Chico's long line cardigan. This actually also came in my bulk boxes. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was new at tags. I can't remember how much it was new at tags, but like 120-ish, I want to say, or more. Gorgeous piece. It sold decently quickly for $45 on Poshmark, and after fees I made $33.98. And then the last thing I sold on Sunday was also from my recent bulk boxes that I got. It was a new Tag Forever 21 black skort, like an athletic skort, still pretty trendy. Sold for $12 on Mercari, and after fees I made $9.83. And then Monday the 10th, I had 5 sales. I sold this new Tag Banana Republic yellow button-up, Banana Republic, also from my recent bulk box unboxings. This did have some flaws, but it was new with tags. I just noted them, and someone bought it, which I was surprised about. It was a really cute shirt. You don't see a lot of like yellow button-ups, I feel like. But it ended up selling for $21, and after fees I made $14.78. Then I sold this Abercrombie and Fitch bootleg jean. These I've actually had for quite a while. It's like an older style, I want to say. I got these in Portland. I'm not even sure where, if I got them at the bins or not. But I thought bootleg was a good style. They were a size 14, which is a great size, but they still just took forever to sell and only ended up selling for $20, and after fees I made $16. Then I sold this Red Hot Spanx shapewear. So Red Hot is a lower end line of Spanx, but it's still decently pricey. I want to say it's sold at like Kohl's and Macy's. And I got it at the bins, so that was another reason why I picked it up. It ended up selling for $8, which wasn't very much, but I was fine with that. And then after fees, I made $5.05. Then I had a flip sale, which I am just trying to sell through the lots I have on Flip currently, and then I will be done selling with Flip. It's not a bad option. I just have so much stuff and just so little time to worry about selling other people's items. Not that, like, I've had great experience with Flip, and I do recommend it, especially for getting like cheap inventory, and then you'll only have to pay if it sells. You could just end up returning them, the items back to the people at the end. But just for me right now, it's just not working out. But I do still have a few pieces to sell through. Anyway, if you're interested more about what Flip is, I have a link below that you can check it out. But I sold this Abercrombie and Fitch, again, super trendy brand right now, black ribbed long sleeve dress. Sold for $18. After fees, I made $14.40, and then after Flip consignment fees, I made $7.20. And then the last thing I sold on Monday was another Abercrombie and Fitch piece. It was this black denim mini dress. I got this at the bins. Sold for $26, and after fees, I made $21.93, and that was on Mercari. All right, and then on Tuesday the 11th, I only had 2 sales. This week was much slower than the previous week. I had another flip sale. I sold this Vera Bradley travel duffel bag. Really cute. It's getting a ton of attention. I don't really find Vera Bradley that often, but I do feel like, especially like their bigger items, can get you more money. It sold for $45 on Mercari. After Mercari fees, I made $38.31, and then after Flip consignment fees, I made $18.06. And then the other piece that sold on Tuesday was this Y2K Bebe, I don't know how you pronounce that brand, plaid mini skirt. This was like a micro mini skirt, and I got it at the bins, and it was just very like futuristic punk, grunge, all that steampunk. So I figured it would sell. It did take a little longer to sell than I thought, and it sold for less than I wanted, but for $15 after fees I made 12, getting it at the bins, that's totally fine. All right, and then on Wednesday the 12th, I had 2 sales. I sold this retro cat like canvas bag. I got this at the bins, I want to say in Portland, and I was gonna keep it, but I'm like, I'm never gonna use it. But you know, I have cats, I love cats. It ended up selling for $18, and after fees, I made $12.38. Then I sold actually a piece on Kidizen, so I think I've made like a sale on every site I sell on in July so far, which is fantastic. I don't have a lot posted on my Kidizen, and I could probably be better about being active on there. Let me know if you guys have any tips for that. But I sold this REI girls winter coat. I got this at the bins. It was in fantastic condition, really cute. I like picking up REI at the bins. You know, it can be a great brand, especially a newer piece. It ended up selling for $50 on Kidizen with free shipping, and after fees I made $35.62. Then Thursday the 13th, I had 4 sales. I sold these Style & Co. pink silk pants, again, very Barbie. I got at a thrift store, so I probably spent about $10 on them. I didn't realize when I bought them that they did have some like sweat stains in the crotch area that are very hard to see, so I photographed them and I noted them. But they were still awesome, 100% silk pants, super cool, very Barbie, sold for $20, and after fees I made $16. Then I sold this A New Day puff sleeve dress, got this at the bins, thought I might like try and wear it, but it was hideous on me. It was not good. I think sometimes I try these like trendy things that are just not my style, and I'm like, yeah, no, not cute, not for me. Cute on other people, just not me. End up selling for $15 on Mercari, and after fees I made $12.42. A New Day is just a Target brand. It's not particularly my favorite Target brand to resell. Wild Fable, I definitely get quicker sales with that. But A New Day, I think if you have bigger sizes, it does better. Then I sold this new tag Nike tech jacket, which was super cool. I actually got this at a thrift store at a Goodwill recently. Again, I want to say maybe $10 I spent on that. I found 2 Nike tech pieces. I did look up the codes while I was in the store to get a better idea of what they were selling for, and Nike tech pieces can do absolutely fantastic. I've had great luck with them in the past. This one I think sold on a 20% off discount, but it still sold for $96, which is fantastic, and after fees I made $73.82, and that was a great size. I think I found that in the men's section, but it was a woman's large or extra large, I want to say, so great size. And then the last thing I sold on Thursday were these Anthropologie Pilcrow utility jeans. I also got these at a Goodwill, so I spent about $10 on them. But I really loved this style of like pull-on cargo utility pants, which is super trendy right now, and that they were denim. And I've been finding a lot of Pilcrow recently, and it's been doing pretty well. And again, a jean that sold now is fantastic. It ended up selling for $50, and after fees I made $40. And then Friday the 14th, I had 4 sales. I sold these Madewell Wide Leg khakis. If you remember, I got these in my bulk box, and I'm so excited. It was probably one of my favorite pieces that I got in all 4 bulk boxes. Just a really cool pair of Madewell pants that were actually reselling for good money. Again, Madewell can be hit or miss. They did have a stain on them that I was able to get out, but there was a smaller stain that I either didn't see or couldn't get out, but all the way at the bottom hem, which I just noted. And they sold for $69 on Mercari, and after fees I made $59.45, which is, again, great. I think my cost of goods for each piece in my bulk boxes was like $1.50, I want to say, so pretty much just like bins pricing, which is amazing. And then the next thing I sold on Friday was this J. Crew knit blazer, and I'm surprised that this took so long to sell, but there were some very light stains on it that were really hard to photograph, so I don't even know if it was just like my eyes seeing things, but I still photographed it so people were aware. It was a light blue color. I think it threw people off because it didn't have a size and it didn't have the J. Crew tag at the back of the neck, but it did have it on the inner like material tag, which I think it was like a wool blend. But I've sold this style of blazer before. It does so well. I've actually found it twice at the bins. It's the only time I've ever seen it. I think it's the Sophie knit blazer. They're blazers. I would just pick them up, especially at the bins. I would totally pick them up. And that's where I found this, again, at the bins. Did take a while to sell, but it is summer. Ended up selling for $63, and after fees, I made $50.40. Then I sold this new tag, Max Studio wrap top. Max Studio is like a TJ Maxx brand, and this was new with tags, and it came in my bulk box, and it said it was like originally $78, but because it's like primarily sold at like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, I believe, it's always on sale and it's always cheaper. So when someone offered me 10, I just decided to accept, and after fees, I made $7.05. And then the last thing I sold on Friday was also from my bulk boxes. Yes, I was like, I think, yes. It was a new tag Zara short sleeve shirt, just a great basic. Ended up selling for $25 on Mercari, which was what I had it listed for, and after fees, I made $21.15. And then the one and only thing I sold yesterday, Saturday the 15th, was a Ramones graphic short sleeve shirt. I didn't really want to accept the offer, but I also had no other sales that day, and really I would just be holding out for like a little bit more money. But it ended up selling for 10, and after fees I made $7.05. Again, picked up at the bins. Graphic band tees at the bins at this point for me is a no-brainer. They usually sell quickly even if it's not for too much. So yeah, those were my sales so far in July. Not terrible, not like the best ever, but I am pleasantly surprised. I'm happy to have some of those more like expensive things sell and not just having like a few low price sales a day. You know, it's nice even if I only have like 2 sales a day that one of them is a little bit more expensive and brings in a little bit more money. But yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are staying cool. Again, I apologize for the noise. It's just so hot. I can't sit in my office. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a great time sourcing and selling. Let me know how your Julys are going. Let me know if you feel like, you know, summer slowdown is worse this year, or if you feel like, you know, you're not experiencing it, or if you're still in the middle of it. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great time sourcing and selling this week, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Bye!